I don't work on getting people to live to 1,000, or indeed on longevity at all. I just work on health. I don't like to see people getting sick when they get older. At the moment, that's what happens. We get sick, all of us. And unfortunately, that causes us also to die. Being sick is the main reason why people die. So any longevity benefits that may occur as a result of the work that Sensory Research Foundation does will be purely a side effect of keeping people healthy. And that means that the right question to ask is not, do we want to live to 1,000? The right question to ask is, do we want to get Alzheimer's disease? Do we want to get cancer? Do we want to get osteoporosis and atherosclerosis and all the other diseases and disabilities of old age? The first thing I want to explain is that Sensory Research Foundation works not on slowing aging down, but on reversing aging. In other words, taking people that are already in middle age or older and genuinely rejuvenating them, putting them back into a state which is mentally and physically as high a performance as a typical young adult. So in other words, completely reversing the functional decline that we normally see in old age. Now, the way that we do that is kind of a divide and conquer approach. And when I say we do, of course, what I mean is the way that we hope to be able to do in the future, because we are a biomedical research charity. We don't actually treat people. So what we're doing is we are classifying the various types of microscopic damage that the body does to itself throughout life into a manageable number of categories. And for each of those categories, we are working on developing a generic therapy, a kind of therapy that can be applied to all of the examples within the category and implement this repair. To make that a little bit more easy to visualize, let me just talk about one category, which is something that everyone pretty much knows about already, and that is stem cell therapy. Stem cell therapy is really for the purpose of replacing cells that the body is not replacing on its own. And there are various aspects of aging which are mainly driven by the body not replacing cells that die. Parkinson's disease is the example I normally use because it's a particularly obvious one. There's a particular part of the brain in which a type of neuron, called a dopaminergic neuron, poisons itself. And those neurons die at a much more rapid rate than the neurons in most parts of the brain. And in some people, they die a bit faster than other people. And those people end up by old age with having lost most of their neurons of that type in that part of the brain. And they get Parkinson's disease. And people are already in clinical trials, actually, this is not our work, looking at using stem cells to replace those cells and thereby cure Parkinson's disease. So the idea is to do that same kind of thing for all the other types of damage that the body accumulates.
Once the kind of brave new world emerges that you're kind of envisaging in the future, when would we start using age-reversing therapies? When we're kind of 4 years old or 40 years old or older or younger?
So I'm always a little bit, the hairs go up on the back of my neck when people call it a brave new world, because that's a little bit double-edged. I think it's going to be rather but yeah, I mean, basically middle age. Certainly the whole point here is that since we are repairing damage, we have no reason to go in and do that when the amount of damage that has so far accumulated is negligible. So people in childhood or in early adulthood just don't have enough damage. It's the same way that you would not take a brand new car in for its MOT or whatever, like the day after you bought it. You would wait until it had accumulated a certain amount of damage, just not enough so that the doors were falling off.